So I was called to program this vehicle. This is a Range Rover Velar. We're having an issue with the brake light. So you see that it comes on that warning brake light. I see the brake worn out light that came on. So the client said he has changed the sensor and still the problem is still there, and he brought me another sensor. So what I'll do is I'll go to the back of the vehicle, the tire, and I'll check it. So this is the brake sensor that the customer fixed, and this sensor, what they've done is it is bridged. So you're in test continuity, you should get it on the sensor. So what I'll do now is I'll test continuity on the sensor and see if it will work, if the sensor is faulty. So he bought another sensor. So that means he bought another sensor for the rear brake, and this is where the sensor is. So what I've done now is I've taken out the socket, because I've taken out the sensor. I have to test for the sensor, I have to test for it and see the actual issue. So now what I'll do, I have to test it, because I know with these sensors the system has to send a bias voltage from one pin. Then when you connect the sensor, because there is ground on the other side, it will short the bias voltage to 0, and that will let the vehicle know that the sensor is not disconnected. So whenever you are driving and the brake is worn out, this part of the sensor will break the connection, which will let the bias voltage turn into 12 volts. So the moment it turns into 12 volts, that means the brake is worn out to the point that you need to replace. That's how the sensor works. So what I'll do now is I'll measure and see if I'll get the 12 volt and the ground. So I'll search for the 12 volt and the ground on this circuit. And I have connected the sensor already. What I'll do now is I'll test them. So one supposed to be a bias voltage and the other supposed to be the ground. So I'll test them and see which one is the bias voltage and which one is the ground for now. So what I'll do is I'll connect one pin to, then connect the other pin to the ground. So I've connected this ground from the front of the vehicle. So now after connecting it, let me start the vehicle, let me let the vehicle run. So now one side is supposed to be ground, one side is supposed to be bias voltage, which is signal line. So now let me test it. So after connecting it, you can see I'm getting a steady 12 volts. So any moment I short it to ground, it's supposed to go off. So now let me test the other side. This side is voltage. So now you can see it's giving me some voltage. So let me check on the other pin and see what I'll be getting, because the other pin is supposed to be ground, which is going to allow it to turn, and you can see there's open in the circuit. That's why we have this ghost voltage just jumping around. So what I'll do now is I'll find from the location, I'll find for ground first. I'll short that sensor first, but before that let me check if I'm still having the brake worn out light on. If I'm having it on, then I'll come and short the bias voltage to ground so that it goes 0. Then from there I can know what to do. So now let me check if I'll be able to see the issue. So let me see if I'll see the one brake light. So you can see the brake light is showing it is one. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the vehicle and do that test. So now to play safe, what I'll do is, instead of me connecting the bias voltage direct to this ground. I will not do that, but what I'll do is I'll connect from my test lights, from this small test light. It has enough ground that the bias voltage needs. I'll connect this test light, then I'll connect the other side to the ground on my wire. I'll connect it to the ground here. With that one, I don't have any issue. So now what I've done is I've connected this side to the ground. Let me see if I'll be able to measure any voltage. Supposed to be 0. So you can see I'm measuring 0 volts on my multimeter. That means I'm playing safe. Now what I need to do is I need to recycle the ignition. Recycle the ignition and see if the one brake issue will come up again. So let's wait for it and see if it's going to come up again. If it doesn't come up, then that means that's my problem. I have to find for the ground for that brake sensor. So I'll speak to the customer. If he wants me to do it, then we'll do further diagnosing. So let me start the vehicle now. So you can see there's no one brake light. There is no one brake light. So that means that side of the problem is fixed. So that means that side is shortened ground. So it is a ground issue. So let me see how I can possibly find a ground to that cable and fix it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. So I'll speak to the client about it and see his response related to that issue. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. So now I'm disconnecting it, disconnect everything. Then so now that I've disconnected everything, let me turn on the light, the ignition, and you see it up again to tell me that it's lacking ground. So that means the system is lacking. I see that now. So this tells me that the system is lacking ground, and you can see that the brake light came on again. Thank you for watching again. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.